boy.
Greetings, Earthlings. What?
Chris Earl Jones.
Chris Earl. James Earl Stilts.
Oh, boy.
For some strange reason, this voice hurts after a moment or two.
Why do you think Misha Collins struggled on Supernatural?
Hey, Dean. Dean, how are you, Dean? Okay. I'm ready when you are.
I've been recording.
Oh, you have been recording?
Since you started doing the voice, I had to start recording.
If I flatten it out a little bit more, it's Wolfman Jack. How you doing, boys and girls?
I've actually met him.
Did you really?
Yeah.
You have to tell me that story sometime. Just not now.
No.
All right. Well, if we're recording, I guess it's one of those times. All right. So let me see what I'm going to do for an opening here.
Yuck. Gooey dog.
Gooey dog.
There you go. Yuck.
Yuck. Gooey dog. No Billies were harmed in the making of this podcast. Wait, no, hang on.
All
right.
Depends.
3, 2. Several vocal cords were harmed in the making of this podcast. From Rochester, New York, the home of several people who have no idea why they're awake this early on a Sunday morning. This is FC3's Monkey Business, your one-stop shop for everything geeky, and everything can be geeky if you love it enough. Starring the inimitable Daniel Carmen, the irrepressible Tanya Metris, the irreplaceable. I'm going to try that again. Anyway.
Irreplaceable.
That's all, folks. What?
Hey, look at that.
Hey! I finally get it right. I just want to say, for all you guys banging on me for
I
not having a Star
did
Wars
not
t-shirt.
put a Star Wars T-shirt on today.
And I went out of my way to make sure I would, because the first T-shirt on the pile was my Green Yoda T-shirt. And I'm like, nope, I can't wear that today. We're doing a Star Wars podcast.
Yeah,
That would not make sense.
Specifically dove into my drawer and said, do not pull out a Star Wars shirt.
You guys, I'm telling you. So that's great. That's a fine opening right there.
That works.
That's it.
All right. How you doing over there, Daniel?
I'm okay.
Good.
I'm here.
You're here. I see that.
I'm here and present.
I'm
Present and
telling
accounted for, sir.
This is 3 weeks in a row we've actually been in the same room for a change of pace. This is kind of cool.
And we
I know
keep
it.
saying we're going to take selfies. Never do.
I know.
I know.
We never do. We should. We'll make a point of it. Dan's are you gonna make a self? Do you take selfies right now? Yeah. He's doing that right now.
It looks like he survived camping.
He not happily.
Not happily.
he texted.
Was it a little on the humid side?
I got zero sleep.
Oh no.
Me and the ground do not get along well.
So
when it
less
comes
than
to
normal.
Sleeping.
Now you were in Boy Scouts. Did you ever do the camping thing? Back
Oh, yeah.
When you were, and was it
But
okay then?
I was
or?
young back then.
That's true.
Kids
That's a
don't
fair
mind
point.
the ground.
I'm a little bit older than I was when I was
Just
a Boy
a
Scout.
smidge.
Just a smidge.
Just a smidge older than that.
And I haven't slept on the ground in.
No, you
since
didn't have
that
like an
long.
air mattress or a bed
I had
roll?
a little mattress. I had a mattress. It was a
Okay.
pad. It was but still, it's just.
Anyone out there can probably relate that if you're over the age of 40-ish.
25.
25
Yeah.
can't
25,
sleep.
26.
Well, it depends on how much alcohol you had the night before.
Well, there's that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
slept.
there's
I remember the
passing
last
out.
time I went
But
camping, I
Dan
slept
wasn't
fine.
doing that.
There's passing out versus camping, yeah. But yeah, I was. It just was not comfortable.
I'm sorry to hear
And
that.
plus, we put up our tent on us. There was a very slight tilt,
Uh-huh.
which you didn't notice until you were really in the tent and laying down. And Zach was like, I was sliding down to the bottom of the tent. And you could feel it. It was just enough just to bother you.
So it was just you and the boys?
No, it was me and Zach.
Just you and Zach?
Yeah.
No, what was the event?
It was just his first Boy Scout camp out.
Okay.
So we were the
Okay.
Boy Scouts.
Gotcha.
So,
I don't understand camping,
I
Boy
don't
Scouts, outside.
I really don't either.
I'm not an outside fan.
No. I'm not an outside
I spent
fan
most of
either.
the week outside, but it was because it was in my backyard. And as
Yeah.
soon as I finished the yard work, I went back in the house where the air conditioning was. So.
yeah, I did miss air conditioning, but it was good. I wanted to give him his first taste of camping, being a Boy Scout. What a Boy
Now,
Scout's all
aside from
about.
sliding down to the bottom of the tent, how did he do? He was okay?
It was good overall. Yeah, I mean, it was good. He was with a couple of his friends were joined the troop also, so they're all so he had the three of them, and then with the older boys there. So overall, it was a good time. It's just that I was whipped because I got zero sleep Friday night.
Yeah.
And, but went on a 5-mile hike on Saturday. We got lost.
Oh, God.
Yay! Well, you must have figured your way out.
Well, we
as
got
you're here.
we're Boy Scouts, we're a bunch of
prepared.
scouts, so
Be
You have a
prepared.
compass.
we got
right?
compasses
That's the
and
thing.
stuff, and,
Yeah.
and Google Maps, and even though there's no signal out there, but we're at Rattlesnake Hill, which is by Swain. So it's
Okay.
in the Swain area of the next.
Aptly named, I hope not.
Not that we saw.
Okay.
So I don't know why it's. I assume there must have been at one point, but yeah, but they have trails. So it's a state, not necessarily a park, but it's a state preserve. So there's there's dirt roads getting in there. Then they block it off, and you have kind of the service roads. So we were kind of walking down, and then they have these great trail markers right at the thing. But then it stops at that point. So you got a trail marker, very clear, very nice sign. Then you get in like 5 feet, and like there's nothing else to indicate there's a trail. So we're like,
Oh,
You're like,
no.
oh.
so our first two attempts failed miserably because we got we're. The first one, we stopped pretty quickly because we ended up at a swamp, and there was no indication of any trail.
Right.
The second one was going up a hill, so we got up the hill, and then there's no sign of the trail after that. So we just kept on wandering in the right direction, and we found the stuff. And then our third attempt, it started off great. It's called it a horse trail, whatever. So there was some sign markers like all over the place. Then like halfway there, they stopped. So suddenly there's no more sign markers. So we're like, we can either go back
man.
or we can try to, so we ended up going not cross country because it's in the forest, but cross woods and heading down south, and eventually we made it back. But it was a lot more adventurous than I thought the hike should have been.
It is really accurate to say you were off the beaten path.
We were very off the beaten path. There was no path we were walking. along this
Ralph
place.
Waldo Emerson would have been proud of you.
Yeah.
You
Oh.
took the
Too-
load
too-
less traveled.
It was quite a hike for
Robert Frost.
Oh, is it Robert Frost?
Yes.
Yes.
It's been over almost.
Two roads diverged in a yellow wood.
That's right.
But
I'm
I think
sorry I could not take.
We even did that on
travel
Poetry Slam
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's one of my favorite
My
poems.
my English professor is probably rolling over in his office or grave, whichever's more applicable at the moment.
Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, so it was quite a hike for the kids, the three youngest kids' first hike.
Okay.
First Boy Scout hike. So
Yeah.
But they all survived, so it was good.
How sore are they?
Zach said he was okay. He got a couple mosquito bites because I wasn't very good with the mosquito spray,
Repellent.
and he got some scrapes from going through the underbrush
The off
because
the beaten
yes,
path.
because of that, and I have a whole bunch of scrapes from that too. But he said he's fine this morning.
He's
so-
going camping again.
Not anytime soon, but probably in the fall because in the summer they do the big scout camp in the Adirondacks, Massweepy. So that's a week camp, and then the troop itself is doing another camp in August, like about 4 or 5 days, which he's not ready for that yet. But by next year he'll be going on more and more. So
There you go.
yeah,
There you go.
so it was good.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap up our opening trilogy of our quote unquote new format where we focus on essentially our Not a Book Club series completely at this point. And we've done episode 4, A New Hope, and episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. So today, Star Wars episode 6.
9.
What?
Just kidding.
Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. That's not nice. That's not nice.
No, it is 6.
Now we're going to have the Jar Jar podcast.
Misa, I think we're all going to lose ratings. We'll get to him
Too late.
eventually. So episode 6, Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
Nice. And so when we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it'll be some. Hopefully, we don't get sued by Disney for using their music. Maybe.
We won't get sued for using
No.
the
No.
music we're playing. We won't get sued.
Oh,
for
that's right. We'll just get blocked in North Korea.
Yes.
Yes, that's the
Yes. North Korea does not like us.
no. Which I think that's actually something I would use on my resume. North Korea does not like me. I like that one. I like that one very much. All right, so we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. Give it a shot, Dan. You know you want to.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
I can't do it. Oh, God. That's hilarious.
That's all we got.
It's just so sad. All right, so Luke Skywalker has returned to his home planet of Tatooine in an attempt to rescue his friend Han Solo from the clutches of the vile gangster Jabba the Hutt. Little does Luke know that the Galactic Empire has secretly begun construction of a new armored space station, even more powerful than the first dreaded Death Star. When completed, this ultimate weapon will spell certain doom for the small band of rebels struggling to restore freedom to the galaxy. You know, the more I read those opening crawls, the more I realize they have almost nothing to do with the actual story.
Well,
It's like a vague hint.
It does. I mean,
Well,
it says that
it's like the little intro.
They're telling you what happened leading up to the opening scene, not what's happening in the movie.
But the thing is they're like unknown to everybody. There's a new Death Star. But by the time everybody's together and at Rebel Fleet, they're talking about the new Death Star and how they're going to deal with it. It's
Because
like
many Bothans
died to
get
get us this
the-
information. Just not me.
No.
And where do they get all these resources to build all these giant things?
Well, when you own an entire galaxy, you have several trillions upon trillions of asteroids and moons and planets to mine from,
And slave labor.
and slave labor, you know,
And clones.
and clones. Well, the clones. The
Yeah,
clones are kind of a
good
questionable
gone,
thing.
Yeah.
They never mention the clones except for the Clone Wars during the original trilogy, but then they become more prevalent as the newer stuff, the prequel series, and like Clone Wars animated series, stuff like that. So they've kind of integrated the clones into canon since then, but they really were never dealt with much. You had no idea what the Clone Wars were in the original trilogy.
Yeah, it's funny because I am actually the average height of a stormtrooper.
Are you?
An average height of a stormtrooper was about 5'6".
Interesting. I never knew that little tidbit.
I was watching it on the MythBusters Star Wars thing because someone came in to was it Adam Savage? Mm-hmm. Is he one of the ones that was?
So how tall is Mark Hamill then? Because I thought he was taller than 5'6".
Right, but
You're a little short to be a stormtrooper.
And I think that's the joke because then they say that the guy that was on MythBusters is 5'11". He goes, actually, I'm tall for a stormtrooper because the average height of a stormtrooper was 5'6".
I wonder where that piece of trivia
I don't
comes
know,
from.
but
That's I would look that
He's
up.
5'9".
And so he's actually taller than the average stormtrooper.
And the 5'11" guy just means that somewhere along the way there's a stormtrooper that's like 4'8".
It's
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. Kenny Baker's other costume than R2D2 was actually.
So
a stormtrooper.
everyone's Googling what the average
Well,
height
yeah,
of a stormtrooper.
Because that's just odd to me because you would not think of a stormtrooper as imposing and depictive of this imposing and overreaching empire at 5'6". I'm thinking 6 foot. That's
Yeah.
more uniform height for that. So I'm not sure where that's wild.
Well, maybe the helmet and body armor, it adds a few inches.
Adds a few inches. Uh-oh, Dan found something.
This one says 5'11".
Right. It says stormtroopers portrayed by assorted actors is 5'11".
Or 1.79 to 1.85 meters.
Yes.
So that one guy who said 5'6" was just we're going to discount him right now.
Yeah. Because John Boyega is also 5'9", and
Okay.
he was a stormtrooper.
Well, yeah.
We'll bust his myth.
Seriously, wow! Look at us myth busting or
I
busting
know.
the Mythbusters.
They said it said 5'6" on there, and I'm just like, I didn't think it was. I thought it was 2.
It was a
If you
myth.
can't trust Mythbusters, who can you trust in this world?
No, but it was
Honestly.
actually quite funny because it was the Star Wars.
It was a
ones.
myth.
Myth.
Yes,
They mythed on the myth.
you're welcome. I'm sorry, I have a cold. So, yeah, I see. I brought in 2 there.
There you go.
I was like, is there a height requirement to become a stormtrooper?
I would assume.
Obviously not.
Well, initially they were all clones, so
Yeah,
Just asking because I'm 5'4" and I don't think I'll be making the cut. It was somebody's.
like Dan and I could not squeeze into stormtrooper armor.
No,
we would look badass doing it, but
yeah, we need special armor.
yeah,
We'd be in the taller troops.
right.
They said something about with a death trooper.
They're fun
They're like the
All right.
Rockettes where they have the certain height requirements and they have to be in a certain range.
and legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have legs, but that's our only.
And we know how to use them.
It's
Our only qualification is we possess legs. That's it. All right. So,
Return of the Jedi.
yes, Return of the Jedi.
Revenge of the Jedi.
That was its original title, wasn't Revenge of the Jedi? And then they were like, oh, no, family friendly. We must change it to Return. And then use Revenge of the Sith because, well, Sith are mean. And we're more edgy in the late 90s, early 2000s. So we can handle it. So we start on Tatooine.
yes.
And so we have established Jabba's palace. We've established that C-3PO and R2-D2 are in place. I have a comment to make about Luke Skywalker's plan after we're done talking about the whole Tatooine sequence. Okay.
Okay.
But first things first, we just go through, and it was funny because Tanya and I were, Tanya comes over, we watch our movie to prepare for podcasting. Ian was here, my son was here, and we were timing everything out essentially by the sections of the movie. So I'm like, because Juno was getting a little irritable, and I said, I'll feed her after Tatooine. And Ian goes, it's amazing that you have everything timed out based on the sections of the movie. He goes, what's next? The brief stop in Dagobah? I said, that's my pee break. And we
Pee break.
and we moved on.
It's time for a pee break. Sorry.
We're making references to everything else along the way. This is so cool.
I don't think I know what that reference
Do
is.
tape 14 part 2.
Yeah, that's why you don't know what
They
that is.
programmed in pee breaks
Oh, okay.
so that you could actually stop the tape and not feel like you were going to miss anything. Oh. Yes. Because they were very thoughtful.
I see.
And it was fun to say, it's time for a pee break.
I gotta go. I gotta go now.
Okay, back to Return of the Jedi.
Why? Anyway, I was having so much fun with that.
Yeah,
anyway,
well.
so we get to Tatooine again. 3PO has the first line of the movie, essentially, which I don't remember. Did he have that in Empire Strikes Back?
What is the first?
I don't
No,
think so.
because it's Luke on Hoth.
Okay, right.
At the
So
beginning
in the
of
first
Empire.
and the third move of the original trilogy, C-3PO has the original, the first line. And so here we are. We're are tied up in a bow here. Our final movie of the Star Wars saga at the time, and it was just so funny to see 3PO in his ultimate prissiness.
Well, the thing is, and I've mentioned before how annoying he can be.
Yes.
And as I watched him in this movie, no, I think unfortunately that would be me. Get back here! I don't want to go in.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I love how he just kind of gently taps on the door
Yeah.
and then goes, and within a heartbeat, he's like, nope, they're not answering, we're leaving.
No, if my wife was R2D2, let's go in here and do this.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Wait, where are we going? What
Oh
are
my
we
God.
doing?
So there's your Halloween costume this
Yeah.
year. You and Susan have to do 3PO and R2.
We'd also have to switch heights.
That's part of the fun, though. But no, it was funny. I remember getting a kick out of realizing that Jabba's palace, the door is a droid. It wasn't just being monitored, but the whole door was essentially a droid. I thought that was kind of interesting. The newest in security.
Yeah, I just thought it was like a mechanized door.
Yeah, with a droid in it.
Yeah. Well,
But
Huh.
And
talk
also-
about having the ultimate bouncer.
A little reminiscent of Wizard of Oz with
Yes.
Dorothy and the crew going up to after they get the yellow brick road to Emerald City,
Mhm.
and there's the door where the
God,
wizard.
I
answers.
forgot. That's a movie we're going to put in the series somewhere along the line, I think, just because it's a classic. And it would be interesting to look at it from the hindsight of, how long ago was that? Was it the 30s?
30s, yeah.
So
Ooh.
60, 80.
39,
So
yeah.
looking back at it from 80 years of hindsight and experience with movies and whatnot, that'd be fun.
So, like, one of our next trilogy type thing could be like 3 classic movies.
There you go. Yeah, I like that. Nicely done.
Oh,
Bravo. So back to Jabba.
Ooh,
Now, at the time, this is the first time you ever see Jabba the Hutt, right? Because now we've all familiar with Hutts, because
Except they put him in Star Wars.
But
They
when
did
we
after the
first
fact.
saw
They
it in the theater,
retroactively.
they retroactively
Yeah.
slotted him in.
So it's not the first time we've seen it in this viewing of
Right.
the trilogy.
but was the first time we
we
saw it
back
initially.
in 70s and 80s.
Yeah, back in the 70s,
Yeah.
in the original viewing of the trilogy, we'd not seen Jabba.
Right.
We've only heard references to
Yeah.
him. And
He's pretty.
he's,
Pretty ugly.
it's a big slug with arms.
It took 6 people to animate Jabba the Hutt.
Well, seems to be on par, six per character.
Yeah,
I mean,
to work the full size animatronic.
if you think about it, over the past 40 plus years, 6 people have brought Darth Vader to life. So it's a magic number for bringing a character to life in Star Wars, apparently.
6.
6. Anyway, so for those of you who understand that joke, thank you. All right.
We'll use it over and over
For
again.
those that don't, I'm sorry.
Yes. So the whole let's talk about it. Let's pick this apart. The whole Tatooine sequence, the whole going Jabba's palace, everybody insinuating themselves in, establishing that Leia is there, establishing Han, Chewie, R2, C-3PO, Lando's
Lando.
there. Eventually Luke shows up. So you can see that it's an organized
Jailbreak.
an organized
Right.
jailbreak to try and rescue Han. That there's a certain thought pattern in mind. But I got to ask. I was going to wait until the end, but I got to ask. Did Luke really anticipate being captured and sentenced to death? Is that like all on it? Like everything he anticipated that this was all going to be, that he was going to have to fight the Rancor, that this was going to happen and this was going to.
They're going to wind up on the Popeye like pirate ship.
Yes. And then he was going to be in a position where R2 was going to have to catapult his lightsaber to him across an open space. Was this all really? Did he see that?
Isn't one of like the Force powers is kind of seeing like all the potential scenarios, kind of like Doctor Strange?
Yeah, but
And
Luke is
so-
that good yet? I mean,
Well,
we'll talk. I want to talk about Luke's skill set a little bit further on.
I
Especially,
mean, he was
towards
very
the end.
quick on going from Padawan up to Jedi
Right.
Knight or whatever. But you would think that he is strong in the Force. He just doesn't know how to access and tap into everything yet.
I just want to make a quick side comment. He's quick to tap in the Force. He's quick to go from Padawan to Jedi Knight. All right, he's quick to have all this stuff. If he was a female character, everybody would be like, "Oh, Mary Sue. He's just a Mary Sue. It's just a Mary Sue character." Just making that comment. Just saying, if Luke Skywalker was a female, somebody would be like, "That's not believable." So screw you, whoever thought that. Anyway, moving on. Had to go there.
And plus, if he's that good, why did he have to go back to Yoda to finish his training?
Yeah, seriously.
Well,
I'm
because
already
I think
perfect.
I think he
Exactly.
just needed that like acknowledgement and validation that he is done.
There's always more you can learn.
He fulfilled a promise. He said he was going to come back, so
Yes.
he went back.
Yeah.
I was a little thrown off by timing because I knew that there was supposedly 3 years between the first and the second movies, between New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. I thought there was like another 3 years between Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So I'm thinking 6 years total from beginning of the saga to the end of the trilogy, the original trilogy. And Tanya and I got a little squabble over it, and then she looked it up, and Ian looked it up and confirmed. Apparently, there's 6 months between the end of Empire Strikes Back and the beginning of Return of the Jedi.
To like a total of a year, because we think that Boba Fett might have been carting Han around for about 6 months because of travel through the galaxy and things like that.
But they seem to travel pretty fast through the galaxy.
Right, because they do time jumps. I mean, so therefore they kind of waive the time that.
There was a recently released novella or comic book or graphic novel, I'm not sure what, but apparently there's this whole sidetrack where Han's carbonite casket had been stolen by another smuggler or by another bounty hunter or something like that. So there was this whole heist thing going on where Boba Fett had to recover Han before he got him back to Jabba. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting, where there's a story where Han Solo's involved, but he's not really involved. Just saying.
Just hanging out.
Yeah, just hanging out.
So approximately like from the beginning of Empire to Return is like a year.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really not as long as you would think.
So by the time that he is on the Death Star 2 facing his ultimate destiny, Luke Skywalker is only, 23, 24 years old.
Right.
And when you think about it, Leia was a senator of a whole planet at the age of 18 at the beginning of New Hope.
Padme was
14-year-old queen.
right, and then 18-year-old senator.
Yeah. Leave it in the hands of the children, people. They know what they're doing. We sell them short. We really do. All right, so I go back to my original question. Luke really had it all planned out, because
Maybe
I don't know if
just
he really
an
anticipated
option.
the Rancor.
No, I mean, why didn't he get the lightsaber earlier? I mean, R2 was around.
Probably,
Yeah.
he knew that he'd probably be searched for weapons.
I mean, but still, once he got in there, he could have taken it at any time. Why do you wait till that moment?
Why do you? He could have taken it while they were. He could have had R2 drop it down into the Rancor pit with him. Instead, he had to do the whole lightsaber stance with a big bone.
Yeah.
But then all the sets that they had ready for that other scene would have been gone
so
to
it's
use.
plot. What we're saying is it's all plot armor.
Right.
The entire plan had plot armor.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
I always remember I remember looking at it like, even at what it came out in 82, 83.
83.
So I was 12, 13 years old. We were, Dan and I were 12, 13 years old when it came out. It always like, wait, he has this moment planned out. How did he know to get there? How did he know he was going to be in this moment? This time, I couldn't figure it. I couldn't get there. I was trying really hard, but there was a lot of cool stuff going on with that whole thing. Right. You were so used to the Rebels versus the Empire, Empire versus the Rebels, and so you're seeing Imperial battle stations, and you're seeing Imperial emplacements, and you're seeing the Rebels all ragtag, scattered wherever they are. Excuse me. You saw, a little bit of the other side of the galaxy, living. in the early days of Tatooine in the first movie, where you see the rough and tumble bar and whatnot, but to see the gangster's palace, to see the cadre of people and the entourage and the musicians.
It eats decorating.
It really did.
This is the Muppetiest of the
It really is.
The Muppetiest.
It really is.
It's
Salacious Crumb.
Over the years, they've made changes from the original 83 version to the re-release to the video to the blah blah blah. Was all of that in the original version? Do you know, or was some of it added?
Quite a bit. Mm-hmm. Quite a bit was in the original version.
Because it was so long ago, I really don't remember what was and what wasn't at this point.
The music number changed.
That's what that was specifically.
It added a couple of characters. It added the background singers. Mm-hmm. They were different.
That's what I was.
But the band was still pretty much there. The band was playing live music in the background. So, say what you want about Jabba, but he had live music in his place.
He did.
That would be like the hangout. Mm-hmm. I could imagine Billy hanging out in the background at Jabba's place because of the live music.
It was good, but I was wondering, was that really there in 1983? And I couldn't remember.
Some of it was, but yeah, he added some, but yeah.
Did they really take time for a musical interlude?
Yes, I do remember that.
Okay.
Yeah, I do remember that.
It was almost like the Muppet Show.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to start.
See, now that would have been a perfect throwaway. If you want to keep it a kids movie, then you have while the band is playing, you do a quick take behind the scenes of the stage area, and there's Kermit struggling to figure out how to pay these people because Jabba's not giving out the money. Come on, man. Anyway, Scooter runs out to try and say something to C-3PO and gets dumped into the Rancor pit.
The cast of pigs in space wander by.
That's it. That would have been classic. Oh my God.
Two guys up in the balcony there.
They're all running to get into a ship to run away from Jabba's palace, and there's the guys from Pigs in Space over on the launch pad next to him. Come on, missed opportunities, George. Come on. You had friends with Jim Henson's people. Come on, you could have done it.
Oh, side note, I watched that Sesame Street documentary yesterday. It's called Street Gang. Mm. It's phenomenal. Oh, it might be my favorite movie I've watched in a long time. Mm-hmm. So watch it.
Who's this again? Gang.
Street Gang. It's a documentary about the history of Sesame Street.
Okay.
And it's so good.
Okay.
I laughed. I cried. It was amazing.
That's cool.
Did you
I
kiss
loved
$5 goodbye?
No.
Oh, okay.
Here's $5 goodbye.
$5 for a movie? Wow.
Yeah.
I know. Seriously. I don't even remember that as a matinee price.
I think you can rent that on YouTube now for
$3.99. No, it's $9.99.
Some of them, yeah.
All right. So I just that's what I wanted. The whole Jabba's palace sequence is cool and has some really interesting bits to it, but the whole Luke's plan seemed so flawed on several levels.
But somehow
and he was
it worked.
so cocky too. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, he was so smug. Mm-hmm. He's like, nope, got everything under control. And Han's like, okay, great, yeah, sure. But my favorite exchange between the two of them, how we doing? Same as always. That bad, huh?
Well, according to some Star Wars canon, I don't know if it's books or whatever, Luke had been to the Sarlacc pit before.
Oh, really?
Yes.
How is that established?
During his adolescence, it was a popular dare amongst his friends to jump into the Sarlacc pit in a low-flying sand skimmer. So I'm assuming in books or novels or whatever.
So somebody retroactively is trying to explain why Luke knew what he was doing.
Yes.
He has home turf advantage of being on Tatooine, but...
Right. So you probably knew of the dreaded Sarlacc pit or whatever.
They used a couple of throwaway lines to get him into an X-Wing in the first movie. I used to bullseye womp rats at 2 meters. They're not much bigger than 2 meters. So they were doing those throwaway lines. It would have been nice if they gave us more than, I grew up on this planet. You're going to die on this planet. Convenient. And then, but more than that would have probably been indicating a home turf advantage thing instead of a retroactive. I'm going to try and explain how he knew this.
Yeah, I've grown up on Earth, and I don't know much about it.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can't do the whole planet just because you grew up in one part of it.
We're certainly going to try.
Right.
Yes. Because, do the thing. But moving on. But, how long do we want to spend on Leia's outfit?
Not much because it wasn't much of an outfit.
There wasn't much there to begin with.
I just saw something about that outfit.
I wonder. That's
It's what everyone remembers about that movie. Even if you haven't seen the movie,
Yes.
that's what you know about the movie.
It's the iconic.
You've seen the slave
thing,
Leah
the slave Leah outfit, and you've also seen it. If you go to New York Comic Con, you've seen it at least 36 times. On the,
There were several versions of Carrie Fisher's slave costume. One was made of metal, form fit to her body. Another was made of rubber and was used for the stunt scenes because it was more comfortable.
oh, I'd hope so.
yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
But we referenced. I'm like, oh, it's the twin swing to.
Oh, yeah, the twin swing.
The twin swing from the first movie. They did it again in this movie, coming off the sail barge.
Yep.
To the other one.
That's right. Yeah.
They swing across the chasm in the Death Star, and then they swing across the gap between the sail barge and the skiff. Mm-hmm. You know, so the twin swing. Did they get one in Empire Strikes Back? I don't think so. No,
No.
they didn't. They didn't get to swing together.
Yeah. Swing.
Which has so many different connotations when you consider that for the first
Sort of
two
time-
movies we didn't know
No,
they
they're
were
brother and
siblings.
sister. Yeah.
It's so weird. But yet we have at this point in the movie we've not gotten that revelation yet. That has not come about. The fact that we know that Luke has been crushing on his sister. Apparently Tatooine's in West Virginia. But anyway, just saying.
But Leia does kill Jabba in that.
Yes,
outfit.
she does. And that's, the late, great, amazing Carrie Fisher had this great quotes, and I'm going to paraphrase it as best I possibly can, but somebody keeps asking her, well, what am I supposed to tell my daughter when she sees you dressed like that? You tell them that a guy forced me to wear it, and I killed him for it.
She had so many great lines.
Oh,
Yeah,
Carrie
she did.
Fisher, man, I'm telling
my
you, she
gosh.
was just, we didn't deserve her. She was amazing.
Moment of silence for Carrie.
There you go. Do we want to talk about anything about the whole? I mean, they rescue Han. Han gets to see Chewie.
Well, we get to hear him at first. You get to hear him first.
Yes, here that was a great scene in that cell.
The blind Han.
Yeah, I'm
Chewie?
all right, man. I'm all right. I still, how much of Star Wars do we still quote in our everyday life these days?
I've got a bad feeling about
Well,
this.
that's the given.
That's
a given.
And
But I will actually I've come back from the office after being out sick for a couple of days, and I'll hear what's been going on, and I'll say, yeah, I'm out of it for a little while, and everybody gets delusions of grandeur.
I was to say, didn't you use that line the other day?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I did, as a matter of fact. You were saying, Billy?
No, I didn't have anything. Actually.
I thought I interrupted you. I apologize.
Nope.
All right, moving on. But is there anything else we want to say about the Tatooine sequence while we're rolling through?
Sand gets everywhere.
Cleaning up after that was a pain.
So now we move on and again, like in Empire, they're together. They get all together just to split the party.
Yep.
They split the party.
Never split the party.
So Luke goes off to Dagobah to have his catch up with Yoda, and the others go back to the fleet to join up and figure out what's going to happen next. Now it wasn't as fraught with danger of us splitting the party this time. It was more of like a side quest to complete. There were turn-ins.
Yeah.
there were quest turn-ins.
Complete the circle.
Complete the circles and then bring her because Luke shows up and rejoins the team for another. They split the party moment later.
And Yoda's health really went downhill in a year.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I mean, he was doing great, and then all of a sudden,
900
boom.
years old you look. So good.
Yeah, but he was 899 last we saw him.
I know, seriously.
But-
Wasn't it? It
It's
was
only
only been 6 months.
So yeah.
Well, still 900 years.
Another great meme is parents can relate. Yoda's heard so many questions from Luke that he just decides to die and get out. Yeah.
Enough.
When you've had just one too many questions, you just decide to die and get out of the way of the kid. But and I've seen lots of material after that too. There's a lot of people who like to try to fill in the gaps and explain things that don't make sense to help you deal with the experience. Where just suspend disbelief and roll with it. Don't worry about it so much.
I mean, this is still basically a kid's movie.
Yeah.
I think this episode more than the other two.
Right.
And those were very kid-friendly.
Well,
It didn't...
the second one was kind of tough. It was more of a teenager-friendly than kid-friendly.
Yeah.
The official poster in regards to this displayed a disclaimer. This film may be too intense for very young children.
Right. Because there was a lot of stuff going on in it. I mean, you have the death of Yoda. You have you start to see Vader throughout this. You see him more as a flawed person than a imposing villain. In the first two movies, he was this incredibly imposing villain. Then, of course, you had the big plot twist, the classic iconic twist of "I am your father" at the end. But it doesn't humanize the man in the suit. In this one, you see his deferential treatment of the Emperor. You see the Emperor basically take this iconic villain and put him on his knee. You know, and you see his he's very focused on trying to find Luke. He wants to get to Luke. He needs to just track down Luke, and there's almost an obsession to it a little bit. It was weird. You only have this imposing, methodical villain who can pick things apart piece by piece in a very systematic fashion. He's a guy who's I'm itching. I got something I got to do, and then we'll talk about it more down the road, because when they have their confrontation there on Endor, you know, at the outpost, when Luke is brought in by the stormtroopers and they have their first exchange face to face, really, there on that bridge, there, and you hear the sadness in Vader. You know, he says, "All right, it's too late for me." It's not. He's not confident. He's not comfortable in his own skin anymore. He's not this imposing villain with a plan, with a method and a system.
This
is a guy who's
been cracked.
Yeah, he's resigned to his own fate. He's not like, no, I'm happy I'm here on the bad guy's side. It's no, it's too late for me. You don't understand. I have to obey. And somebody on TikTok pointed it out. That's crystallized thoughts but Vader has been a slave all of his life. He was a slave when he was a boy. He was a slave to the Jedi. He was a slave to the dark side of the Force. He was a slave all of his life. And there's this sadness to him. And you're like, wait, it's not just a robot. There really is a guy in the suit. It's, interesting. So, but I'm fast forwarding through
He had no control over his life.
Nope.
Right.
I am fast forwarding through my list of things that I wanted to talk about.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, because
I thought
you
it's just
see character change throughout the whole thing, because at the beginning, Luke actually uses the Force to harm somebody.
Yes.
Harm the guards. And it's the only time he ever does it.
Yeah. And he does it with confidence, too.
Right.
He does it just very chill.
He actually, because the Force was never supposed to be used to harm.
Right. He just doesn't
That's
push
the dark side.
When he goes into Jabba's palace, he doesn't push the guards aside. You can see them grabbing at their throats.
Right.
He's Force choking him and pushing him at the same time. So it's like, oh, he's not making that comfortable. He's letting these boys know, you got to get out of the way, or something bad's going to happen to you. You know, so you're seeing that interesting. It's almost as if they're trying to do these little things to lace that Luke might turn. Right. Luke might actually go to the and there was a couple of what ifs I've heard in other documentaries and whatnot, where the big twist in Jedi was going to be the Return of the Jedi was Vader. Luke was going to fall to the dark side, and Vader was going to return to the light side, and because of it. He was going to realize his failures. Luke was going to become Palpatine's apprentice. Vader was supposed to return to being Anakin Skywalker. And then, if the story were to continue, Vader was going to drag Luke back to the light.
Huh.
And I've only heard that from two sources, and I've never seen it in a book. It was just people talking. So, but it makes sense. The way they set it up, there's the sadness in Vader, but also you see the hints of Luke falling, to it, using his powers and using his overconfidence and being smug about his abilities and threatening Jabba to his face. It's not very Jedi-like. So they were trying to lace those things in. So it really could have gone either way. It was keeping you guessing. Character development was interesting.
Would have definitely been a very different movie.
Oh, yeah. But I also think that it would have been a movie that would have revealed that there was definitely more to come.
It would have led into another set of 4 or 5
immediately
or 6 movies after that. That
Might not have had to wait for 30 years for sequels.
Now, on Dagobah, Ben Kenobi's ghost comes back, tells Luke he has a sister.
Yes.
And sort of didn't tell anyone because Vader would be able to sense it.
Yeah.
It'll endanger everything. First thing Luke does, I'm your brother.
Yeah, goes and tells her.
Why?
Why? Because Luke is an idiot.
Well, that wasn't until the end, though.
That's true.
Well, but still, him knowing it and sort of letting people know, endangered. Keep it a secret.
Yeah. Here, let me go tell her.
Yeah. I'll just tell her.
Well, he couldn't keep it from Vader either.
Yeah.
So.
Telephone, telegram, telecarry.
Yeah, but maybe did Vader know who his sister was? Without
he didn't.
They didn't really establish that. He just but making
you have a sister.
Yes, sister. And the way he said it was really creepy. It was. Can I just say that was really creepy? It was almost like joy. Like, oh no.
And actually, before the reveal, I did back on Tatooine.
Yeah.
They had to make sure that Luke and Leia got that one last kiss in.
Yeah. Yeah, she gave it was a peck on the cheek before the twin swing again. Twin swing part. So it was a full recreation of the Death Star swing. Yeah, for luck. But man, I'm telling you, wowzers, that outfit. I'm just going to go back to that for a moment because
just a moment.
On. Just a moment. Moving on.
Until Harley Quinn took over, it was the top Comic-Con outfit.
Yes. Seriously. Couldn't go through a Comic-Con without a slave Leia. We even had one, I think, in our first year, if I remember correctly. You would have remembered.
I should remember. I don't know why I don't. But
Dan would have remembered that.
That's not something I remember.
Yeah. So, okay. So our story is going from Tatooine, and then it splits. The main bulk of the group goes to the fleet, meet up at the fleet to start talking about what's going to happen next. Luke goes off to have his exchange with Yoda. It was just interesting. Yoda's death was felt. It was palpable. It was a good moment. It just felt like, why did he die so quick?
Yeah.
I mean, he was just bopping around a moment ago, and now he's gone. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah. Could they have just... I mean, you have Luke go back. Well, I suppose if he lives, then there's more training, or does Yoda just send him off and Yoda becomes sort of a background character
I don't know.
for any future...
It created far too many questions for me, but then I have a habit of overanalyzing things, so that's why I have a podcast.
Well, you had to give Frank Oz a chance to do the voice.
I know,
or is it Jim? No, it's
Frank
Oz. Yeah.
Well, Jim Henson passed away long before.
Yes.
When did he pass away?
No, it
wasn't that long.
Was he still alive during Jedi?
Yeah.
1990, he passed away.
Did he? Okay, so he was definitely around at the time of Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
Okay.
Only
Yoda's
53
the only
years old.
Jedi that dies on screen of natural causes.
That's fair. Yeah.
Old age.
Yeah. Everybody else was exertion or battle.
Yeah.
So where did we go? Okay, after Dagobah, we wind up going.
Luke shows up at Fleet because they're doing the whole Death Star 2 thing, and they're talking about it being there. They're talking about its location. They're talking about general gist of the plan, and then they like, okay, Lando's going to lead the space assault on the Death Star itself, and they're like, okay, now Solo's going to do the ground assault, try and get the shield down, which seems very convenient to me that everybody's a general now for some strange reason, but we'll go with it. Yeah. And
it happens,
And so he's like,
General
well,
Chris.
I've got my team, I've got the commandos, but I didn't have a command crew for the shuttle. Chewie goes in, Leia volunteers, and nobody has a problem with the fact that Leia, who's this high-ranking member of the rebellion,
he's going on this risky mistake.
is going to go into this whole big.
I know. It's like
All these main characters are going.
Yes,
because she was like leading everything on Hoth.
Yes,
but now
suddenly
she's
can go
on
ahead
the
and make
away
commando
team.
run. Yeah, she's on the away team,
And it's the old Star Trek version. Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Scotty.
Yeah, all the most
We're all
important
going
people.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
Yeah.
And Ensign Jones, you stay up and guard the ship.
Right.
Is that a red shirt you're wearing?
Everybody, remember where we parked?
I saw a meme in regards to the red shirt. There was a woman, wearing like a red dress, and Bones is standing next to her, and he's trying to get her to take the red dress off because if they're not wearing the red dress, you'll survive.
That's not right. That's just not right.
Moving right along.
Yeah. My last tangent. We'll go back to Star Wars. My favorite Star Trek cosplay is this girl. She's in the original series red dress, and it's all torn up, and she's got bruises and fake blood all over, and it's all torn up and singed and whatnot. She's just looking very depressed. And it's go on the away team. They said it'll be fun. They said. Moving on. All right. So they bring the party back together again. Gamer mentality. Don't split the party. So they bring the party back together again.
Just to split the party again.
When they got to Endor, they split the party again. Well, it was. It was.
Yeah, but it's Lando and other characters.
Right, but once they land on Endor,
when they land on Endor, then they get split up a little bit. And they go off on their separate adventures that come back together, and then they split a part of the party. It's just
because Vader can feel my presence.
Yes, it is. It was so weird that they didn't think about that ahead of time.
Yeah, so you guys close, and Vader actually sensed them already. And
Also, as we do the approach to Endor in the briefing on Home One, when they're all together and they're showing the incomplete Death Star and whatnot, they show that the shield is emitted from this one point and envelops the Death Star. It doesn't go around the whole planet. It doesn't go around the whole moon. It just goes around the Death Star. So why did the shuttle have to have the shield turned off so they can land on the moon?
Yeah, that was weird.
Can I ask that question finally?
Because I was thinking about it, I'm like, okay, so if the shield generator comes up around the Death Star,
Go
the
around it.
the Death Star has to be orbiting at the same speed as the planet.
Right.
In order for it to continuously stay there.
And geostationary orbit is an easy thing if you have some simple planet, orbital mechanics, background.
Well, why wouldn't you put the shield generator on the Death Star?
Well, there's another question.
If this is this invulnerable shield, why wouldn't you have put it on the ship? Why do you put it on a planet when
It's generating its own shield.
the complexity of shooting this up into space around this giant ball up?
Yes. There
wouldn't that use
seems
a
to be an
more
awful lot
energy?
of weird levels of complexity here.
plot
armor.
Right.
holes.
That is
Plot
definitely
holes.
plot armor because that seems, from a technological point of view, that seems very inefficient to do that.
See, if it were me, I would have just come in from the opposite side of the moon, where nobody probably is, or we'd still steal the shuttle and just say, "Oh yeah, we have all the codes, and we're all, we're go team, we're Empire, yeah, sure," and then land on the planet and go get the shield. Why do you have to go past the command ship? Why do you have to ask for the shield to be dropped? Why do you have to do any of
And if they could create these shields, why weren't they on other ships?
Right.
If they can create these, I said, these invulnerable shields, why weren't they on any of these other, Imperial cruisers or anything?
So are you thinking about stuff for Gaming Leader today?
See, here's the thing. This is the beauty of it. In our Star Wars game that we play, I'm just the pilot. The creative technical stuff is Scott's game, right?
Yeah, we're not going to see Scott until like September.
You know what? The thing is he gets to sit at home and figure all this out. I'm just flying the damn ship. That's my job.
Yeah.
That's all. But it was weird. There's lots of little inconsistencies that even at 12 years old, I'm like, wait, that doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it makes for interesting scenes, right? They built up their interesting scenes. They had their interactions. They got Juno found
Chewbacca.
Juno found a squeaky
Young
toy.
Chewbacca.
There's great benefits to having home turf advantage, but then again, there's Juno. All right, so where was I going? Apparently, in the original draft of the script, this was also supposed to be taking place on Chewbacca's home planet on Kashyyyk.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
instead of
Ewoks
having
were
the
supposed to
miniature,
be Wookiees.
instead of having Wookiees, that had been thrown in the dryer and shrunk into Ewoks, we were going to have full-fledged Wookiees. Mm-hmm. But apparently, the battle scene was far too, brutal and dark because an army of Wookiees versus a couple legions of stormtroopers.
When you can rip their arms off.
That would not have been pretty. That would have been what's his name who did the Antonio Banderas Bandit movies. Robert Rodriguez.
Oh, yeah.
Richard Rodriguez. I can't.
Yes,
Oh God, I can't think of this guy's name now.
Robert Rodriguez.
Spy Kids too. He did. Spy
Yeah,
Kids.
he's like a Tarantino type guy.
Yeah.
Robert Rodriguez. He did like El Mariachi and
Yeah.
Would have been as
Just,
cute.
Robert Rodriguez. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
only,
No, it definitely would not be as adorable.
did
because
only one Ewok die?
I think a couple of them did actually.
Because
They made a point of focusing
there's
on that
one.
one.
The one, yeah.
But
for
I
that
think
impact.
a couple of them are launched or whatever.
Yeah, you see a couple,
Yeah,
good squishes.
but taking on a legion of stormtroopers,
Yes.
Stormtroopers are that bad.
Yes.
Even though in the first movie, no,
They can't hit anything.
only a stormtrooper could be that precise.
And then they get taken out by a bunch of teddy bears. Now, and also it leads up to the victory at the end. The final scene, you have the original clip, which you sent me the link to.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it for the first time in a while. You have the teddy bear dance party and I got I got that line from Deanna because I remember her saying it once and it just stuck with me. I'm like, oh my God, that makes sense.
teddy
You get
bear
this cute
dance
little
party?
teddy bear dance party at the end of Return of the Jedi, the original version. Now you have this montage across the galaxy of everybody celebrating that the emperor's been defeated.
It's like, how did they get truly the
Get the news that fast.
Well, and that also
it
makes
stills
me,
light speed. You can't.
Did that many people hate the Empire? So much? Did they hate Imperial rule that badly
Then how? Yeah,
that they're all celebrating across the galaxy like that?
I mean, here half the people in the United States love the Empire.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're
They're
getting
the 501st.
that's it's interesting to see how the movies have changed. And I one of these days when we've talked about all three trilogies, I'd like to do an episode where it's just talking about the changes that Lucas has made.
or whoever made,
Or whoever. Well, no, Lucas has been behind the majority of the changes.
even the last three.
Well, the last three was an entirely different creation.
right.
But when he can go back and we can see what he's done to tweak the prequel and
prequel,
the original
okay.
trilogies
Okay.
and even things that he's had a hand in canon in terms of other materials like Clone Wars and animated series and stuff like that. I don't know. Just
It's evolved.
It has
Some
evolved.
of it's evolved.
It is evolved, and sometimes it has caused more questions than answers, which is
Special editions cause a lot of questions, but that's a different story.
yeah.
It's not actually not a different story. It's just
It's the same story, but
different.
different orchestra, if I may, and try to use that analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it says many of the ideas from the original script were either left out or changed. For instance, we said the Ewoks were going to be Wookiees. The Millennium Falcon would be used in the arrival at the forest moon of Endor. And Obi-Wan Kenobi would return to life from a spectral existence in the Force.
Wow.
Really? I
Yeah.
didn't. Now that's new to me. I did not know that one.
Wow.
Where Alec Guinness would show back up.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. I wonder how they would explain that one.
I don't know.
Yeah, that would have been cool. But it's the Force. Anything could happen.
Seriously.
Yeah. And they said the location for the forest location for the Battle of Endor was a California location that the production was due for logging anyway. So the special effects crew were allowed to knock down trees during that battle because it was
I'm a
already
lumberjack and I'm
okay. I sleep all night and I work all day.
One person doesn't know that song.
Yes, I wonder why.
cut down trees.
Can jump. I go to the left.
I go like go to lavatory. On Wednesdays I go shopping and have buttered scones for tea. She's walking away from the
Tanya
table.
has
Tanya
left the
says
building.
pee break.
Tanya has left the podcast.
We miss you. We love you. Come home. We'll make substantially less Monty Python references. She's not buying it. That was a Monty Python reference, yes.
Who took the dogs out? Oh, but
Me.
Tanya.
All right. That whole sequence on Endor was just...
It was.
There was lots of weird going on there.
Actually, that's one thing I wanted to bring up, and that through most of the movie, you could tell effects had improved from 77 to
Right.
83.
They've been working on their craft.
Spaceships, the battle sequences, but you put the Ewoks or Leia on the little speed racer.
on the land speeder or the speeder bike.
On the bikes.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it turned into a Laurel Hardy movie from 1929.
Yes. Yeah. Where it was green screen on a
Yeah.
frame kind of a thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Juno came over to check you out.
That was terrible looking.
Right. And can I make the comment that when the bulk of our party has finally returned to the Ewok village and they're reunited with Leia and she comes out wearing a native dress and she's 2.5 times taller than any Ewok there. So where did they get the dress from? Did they whip it out real fast when she showed up? How the hell is she?
Their Amish-like existence turned them into expert
tailors
and seamstresses. Shoot, I had another thought on Ewoks and the speeder bikes, and I lost it. Shoot,
That's all right. It'll come back around.
Yeah.
So we have our battle on the moon, and we have our battle up in space going on at the same time.
Actually, I just remembered.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, C-3PO
Yes.
becomes a god to the Ewoks.
Oh,
Why didn't he just tell them these are my friends? Don't carry 'em
seriously, there
around
was
on
so many ways you
sticks.
could have gotten out of that. It was amazing.
Why are you dragging them back to camp on sticks? Just no, they're with me.
Yeah. How did this get out of hand?
And why weren't they going to eat Leia? Why did they? Only eat,
Why didn't they threaten to eat Leia? Why they were suddenly going to eat the rest? It just there were so many weird things that just as a kid you're just rolling with it. Okay, things get out of hand. As a kid, we understand that. You break one thing, suddenly the whole house is on fire. You have no idea,
Right.
And then you're looking at it. The dog did it, and moving on. I'm not speaking from personal experience, and there's just so many great moments in Return of the Jedi.
And I still enjoyed it. We're picking it apart, but
Yeah,
I
we are.
really did like it.
Oh yeah,
Overall,
it was a great
overall,
movie.
yeah.
It was a great movie. It was a great end to the original trilogy.
Just some weird things.
Just some weird things going on, and some weird ways to get to where they wanted to be. Now, as opposed to other movies that have wrapped up series and sagas and whatnot, and we're looking at you, Rise of Skywalker, they didn't try to pack a whole ton of stuff into a 2-hour movie to get to the end. They had a plan. There was a methodical pace to it. Yes, there were some weird twists and turns along the way, and some things that make you scratch your head. But it didn't feel like the movie was too busy.
No, it never felt busy.
Right. It felt like there was a good logical unfolding to things. Now a lot of movies nowadays, when they're trying to wrap up a large series, they pack so much in. They try to tie so many things together. They don't want to leave questions, but in the process, they just confuse the ever-loving hell out of you.
That's the sign of the times, though. Isn't
Yeah,
it? They're trying
really
to pack
is.
as much and possible into a shortest.
Return of the Jedi does it in a different fashion, you know. And so that's
Some weird stuff in there, but it wasn't so fast paced that you were
Right.
like whiplash from what just happened.
Right. So
Versus Rise of Skywalker, I was whiplashed at the end of that movie.
it doesn't let up. That
No,
one. We'll get to that in time.
Yeah, eventually.
You know, and we'll get to that one in time and talk about that. But you know, just the whole space combat scene was cool. There was so many cool things going on. It was so much fun to watch, and to see all the different stuff happening, the different ships, the different interactions, the different tactics that were being used at the time. You know, the different reactions to things. It was interesting, and to see this massive, you know, be all end all dreadnought battle cruiser, the command cruiser, executor or executor, however you want to pronounce it, being taken up by an A-wing.
Yeah.
A crashing A-wing, nonetheless. It's like, wait, that's
They build poor ships, the Empire, because
Yeah.
they could take it down so easily. I mean, Dust Stars,
they were meant to be
planet killers.
Yeah, imposing.
Yes.
You know, rule through fear, not through skill. You know, that's kind of overwhelm you. You know, 20 Star Destroyers is going to intimidate a planet.
Yes,
You
slightly,
know.
yes.
Physicists have calculated that while the Death Star design is theoretically possible, it would take too much money, time, and material to be feasible.
Yes.
Yeah. Wasn't there a GoFundMe to create a Death Star or something like that?
I don't know.
I thought it was recently. There was like a GoFundMe like for trillions of dollars to create a Death Star.
And
Yeah, but they got it's like you had said at the beginning. Well, how do they have all the materials? Or did you ask? I don't remember. Somebody asked.
Just the materials itself.
When you have access to an entire galaxy,
yeah,
you know,
but still, they're building it in secret.
right?
You know,
But
in
secret, and I'm using air quotes
yeah,
at the moment.
and it's just the amount of materials to build a moon-sized thing is a lot.
It's enormous for us to consider because we are so terrestrial based.
Yeah.
Right. We even our science fiction can sometimes be somewhat limited, right? But you got to look at it from their viewpoint. Okay, we can gather up enough materials from around the city of Rochester to build a house. Okay, that's easy enough. We can go around the entire planet and pick up all the stone and materials we need to build a castle. Okay, cool. And can we build a space station? Yes, slowly and in small parts because of the material access we have as a terrestrial-based society.
As our technology is,
Right.
and to get the parts there and
You know,
move it
However,
up.
they have a whole galaxy.
They have the whole galaxy,
Galaxy.
and you have ships that can go from one side of the galaxy to another. That's beyond even Star Trek.
We don't have thoughts right now.
Even Star Trek's warp drive says, well, we can only go from here to here in 75 years. You know, where Han Solo can go from one end of the galaxy to another in a couple of weeks.
right.
You know, so you if you look at it from availability, then scrapping the resources together to make something that monstrous is more likely. You know, and when you have access instead of millions of people or thousands of people or hundreds of people, you have access to trillions upon billions of people, then and creatures and automation. You know,
I'm trying to remember in Clerks or Clerks 2, Randall makes the argument that the destruction of the Death Star is bad because of all the independent contractors,
Right.
suppliers.
Right. I used that line in the Enterprise
Yep.
video. Yeah.
Are killed. They weren't doing anything. They weren't bad guys. They were just people going to do their job, and they
Yep.
show up one day. Next thing you know, it's blown up.
Do you think the Emperor would have cared to send him out to minimum safe distance during a fight? No. Do you think the average stormtrooper knows how to install a toilet main?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I remember that line, and I laugh every time. That was the original Clerks. I'm pretty sure of it.
Can't remember. Yeah, because in the third one, him and Elias are too busy arguing about Lord of the Rings versus Star Wars. There's one original trilogy.
That's it.
Yeah.
Do we have any thoughts about the whole interaction between Vader, the Emperor, and Luke? That whole exchange, that whole series of scenes.
Probably should because that's kind of,
Pause so that I can kill the dog.
Palpatine.
What shocked me is she was laying right underneath my
She
legs.
does that to me all the time.
And she-
suddenly something decides to catch her attention. She starts barking, and I'm like totally in the zone somewhere else, and scares the ever loving crap out of me. It's
Well,
like,
and then
really?
she like lifted her head up really quickly, so it got like my shin. It didn't hurt me, but
Yeah,
it like
she bonked you.
Bonked me, and I'm like,
I've never had a
that's why
dog
I'm like,
that acts like this one. I'm serious. I've never had a dog that's acted
They're
like this
unique
one.
animals.
They really
They are.
Moving on. So yes, Palpatine, Vader, Luke.
Hey, Palpatine just has the creepiest look as he's thinking
Yeah.
that Luke may switch over. He's like, it's like he's
an
watching
eager
a porn
anticipation.
movie or something.
Oh my god! It's like get the money shot, get the money shot. Turn over, would you? Come on, cross over, baby. Let's go. Pop your lightsaber.
Take up your lightsaber.
Strike me down. Yes, I can. And I love how I can feel your anger, dude. Really? Children's show. Come on, man.
Would you like this leather outfit?
Seriously. As far as creepy villains go, Palpatine wins. He is not. They're like seriously. He's got some sort of fetish going on there.
Pure evil.
But then he gets, then at the end when Luke throws the lightsaber aside, he's defeated Vader. He's cut Vader's hand off. Vader's just lying there, defeated, done. And Palpatine's like, "Go ahead, finish it, take him out." And Luke does the whole suddenly the ballsy thing. No, I'm good. This guy throws his weapon away. Ultimate evil in the galaxy. You do not throw your weapon away, dumbass. Just saying, right there. Just making a comment.
Yeah.
Hook it on your belt. Put your hands at your sides. Be cool. Be chill. But don't throw it.
I'll never need this again.
Yeah.
Turn it off is one thing, but
Yeah.
I'd hold on to it if I was.
Yeah.
He's not going to.
But then
Emperor's not just
you
gonna
see
give in.
Palpatine's mood just shift from like creepy old man to, all right, so be it, Jedi. Now I'm going to just kick your ass, and then the lightning comes out, and now we're riding the lightning in a whole new way. Holy moly!
And Luke's thinking, Yoda, why didn't you tell me about the lightning?
Yeah, I know. Seriously, how do I block this? Come on, somebody come. Ben, where the hell are you now? Popping up when I'm trying to figure things out, but you're not here when I need you.
That was the first time we saw the lightning, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the first lightning strike, and we only saw it one other time after that. No, two. Never mind. Two.
What is
The
it?
last movie.
Dooku. We saw Dooku use it against.
that's right,
Yeah,
yeah.
in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, against Obi-Wan.
And the Emperor used
And then Emperor
it.
tries to uncork it on Yoda, and Yoda blocks it, but then does the whole absorb it in his hand thing, which I thought was pretty badass.
Yeah, but doesn't he use it against Mace Windu?
Yes, I'm sorry. That's right. He does at the end.
So in the original trilogy, it's the first time we
Right.
see it.
Right. That's he's all over the place in the prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I stand. I sit down corrected. But what that interaction between the three of them,
I don't know.
Did you feel Vader's conflict at all throughout all of that? I mean, or was it right at the end when he finally just decides to go after Palpatine?
Mostly at the lightning.
Right at the end.
It was more of, here, I am Palpatine's attack dog. I'm going to have some fun with you now. A little bit of that classic villain was there during that fight between Vader and Luke, where he's stalking through the whole Emperor's chamber, weaving through the stuff and just like, just kind of stalking him a little bit.
I will not
playing
fight
with
you,
him.
Father.
Then you will die. And it was great. And somebody pointed it out in a meme recently. Luke jumps up to that that catwalk. Which where do you put it? Why do you put a catwalk in the Emperor's palace room? I don't understand. But we'll roll with it.
On the catwalk.
Yeah. So he's on the catwalk, and Vader looks up and goes, "Obi-Wan has taught you well." Yes, because Luke has the high ground.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
That was fantastic.
It's funny because during the scene on the Death Star in the throne room, the chair is supposed to be mechanized and move.
Okay.
It malfunctioned.
So it just turned.
So no, Ian McDiarmid had to turn it with his feet.
Oh.
So he was shuffling his feet, and there were little tape marks on the floor that shows where he had to stop.
Okay.
In order for it to be covered, because the throne wasn't it
wouldn't work.
the power wasn't
wouldn't
working
spin.
to it, so he had to spin it himself. So just take that into consideration now when you go back and watch it. Now that the Emperor is actually moving his own chair.
He did a really good job of it too.
No guys behind the scenes that could have done it. I mean, come on.
No.
Stage
Couldn't
crew.
had a couple of guys under the floor on a crank.
Yeah, I figured they could have done something.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, well.
I just thought it was kind of funny that this big bad guy has to move his own chair.
Twinkle toes.
Yeah.
What do you think, Billy?
I think that I noticed towards the end when Vader was feeling more conflicted, you could still sense it despite the big helmet. There was still sort of body language, and I don't even know like if in the face he managed to make it look a little more sad or
it did seem like the mask was a little sadder for some reason.
This is where we're going to actually compliment the acting skill of Dave Prowse, because he had to do everything through body language. After the first movie, he knew he was not doing the lines. He was just doing the lines to help everybody else. After during the second and third movie, he knew his place in things. So he had to convey everything through body language, shifting and turning his head and whatnot, and how he kind of presented that.
I mean, maybe was it like the lighting or something that made the face look different? Maybe. I don't think they would have done a different mask.
Cinematography.
Yeah, I mean, I
Paint
definitely
a
got
big frown on the mask.
the eyebrows start going off to the side instead of down the middle. Yeah,
that was Spaceballs, I think.
Yes, they did.
But I thought they did a really good job at the end with Vader's death and admitting that he regrets his choice.
Tell your sister you were right.
Did he ever know who Leia was? Who his sister was?
I don't know. They don't really establish that.
I mean, after he's dead, he kind of sees it, but
yeah.
In the final lightsaber duel between Luke and Vader, when Vader learns that Princess Leia is his daughter and Luke's long-lost twin, he says, "If you will not turn to the dark side, then perhaps she will." So I don't know how they reference...
They don't...
He never says...
Right.
They might have made a reference in the novelization. Again, there probably is some material outside of Return of the Jedi that gives people the explanation of how Vader knew it was Leia. But all they ever establish in the movie itself is that
You have a
Vader
sister.
figures out that Luke has a sister. He doesn't figure anything else out other than that.
Not that we know of.
Maybe because she's the only female character in the movie.
Well, there's that. Other than Mon Mothma.
Who's the main character? Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the novelizations always have more. 'Cause I was watching one TikTok. One guy, he said he read the novelization of Rise of Skywalker, and he said it makes so much more sense than the movie does.
Right.
He said there's so
you can
much
always
more
put more in
stuff
a book
in
than
there.
in a movie.
Yeah, but I mean, I've read some of them, but they're pretty much exact. Especially when the novel comes after the movie, they're pretty much exact what the movie is. But he says there's so much more. I haven't read it. I actually got the book. I'm going to read it one of these days. Maybe if you do that, when we get that one, I'll read it before that. But he said there's so much more in there, and it connects so much more dots. So, but again, it probably should have been two or three movies.
Right.
The last one. So.
Yeah. But then it would not fit into a trilogy unless Douglas Adams wrote it.
Right.
So, do we have any final thoughts about Return of the Jedi as on the whole?
I liked it better than I remembered liking it, despite all of our nitpicking.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we did nitpick a bit,
Yeah.
but we do enjoy these movies. I mean, the original trilogy is a nice package. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Right.
There's
wasn't overwhelming.
Yeah, there's an evolution to most of it makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's also the vision and the imagination and seeing the effects and the different life forms and planets and whatnot.
I don't like them adding Hayden Christensen to the
No,
ghost thing at the end.
Yeah.
it wasn't necessary.
was not necessary.
A lot of this stuff wasn't necessary.
Yeah, that was just
I mean, if
weird.
he had just gone and just cleaned up some scenes versus changing scenes, that wouldn't have been as bad. But just the fact that he changed all this stuff, and, adding in a few extra scenes or something might not have been as bad. But just changing stuff like that was just not necessary. Like, why did Darth Vader suddenly become young?
Yeah.
Right, Anakin.
Regressing.
Yeah.
Then you would have. Then why not change Sir Alec Guinness's Force Ghost to Ewan McGregor?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to do that, if you're going to change that so that it's Hayden Christensen and
It
then
was
Alec Guinness,
inconsistent.
and Yoda, then change all three. Make Yoda look a lot younger.
Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda. bring in Grogu's puppet.
I like Baby Yoda.
We know, honey. And I think the great thing is it doesn't set up the prequel and the sequels. It's a nice wrapped up package. Those original three movies, there's a thing to it, and you can take it and set it aside and then create the whole universe that as novelists and gamers did after that. They created everything that happened afterwards. You didn't need to, so it was nice to see it. To kind of like finish off some thoughts and whatnot. And we will get into the Star Wars saga. The prequel trilogy will probably be next, but that'll be down the road. We're not going to bomb you, and we're not going to be a Star Wars only podcast. So next week, we'll talk a little bit about that after the break. So you can expect what we're going to be talking about soon. All right, so we'll be right back. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Jedi and Sith alike. So, as I mentioned before we went to break real quick, our next series of movies, we've already talked about it before we started recording this one. We didn't want to just be Star Wars only and then jump to Star Trek. That would have been too on the nose. So we're going to kind of go a little bit more lighthearted. And so our next series of movies we're going to be talking about will be the Back to the Future series.
Since we're past the timeline of all the movies now.
Exactly. We're not going to look back at it in hindsight and see what they got right and what they got wrong. Because there's some things that Back to the Future accidentally predicts.
Right.
Like the Cubs winning the World Series and stuff like that. I think they even nailed the year, if I remember correctly.
And maybe the opponent. And
yeah,
a team. Did they play the Florida Marlins?
I don't remember exactly, but
Yeah.
we'll look into that.
Yeah.
But we're going to be looking into the adventures of Marty McFly and Doc Brown for the next couple of weeks. Also, just to let you guys know, we're coming into summer and we've got some things going on. So Monkey Business might actually we're working on to make sure it might be a little spotty from time to time. But we're going to try and work on getting it to keep it every week, but it might be every other week sometimes. And but we'll keep you alerted so that you know what's happening at all times.
Or we may bring in Joan Rivers as our guest host.
Only if we have a Ouija board.
I was going to say. That'd be,
Jay Leno.
Jay Leno. We'll have Leno do it.
Yeah.
And then he'll steal the show from us
Yeah.
and push Conan O'Brien out, even though Conan O'Brien was never on Monkey Business.
Yeah.
It's weird. But, there's some behind-the-scenes stuff going on. Regardless of that, hey, Dan,
yes, Chris.
Dan, do we have a question of the week available to us?
Maybe. We got lots of
We
questions.
have lots of questions.
Billy, can you pick a number between 300 and 301? No.
Okay.
300.5.
Yes. 300.1.
So, no, but I don't. Have you picked a number in a while?
I did a couple weeks ago.
Did you a couple weeks ago?
yeah.
How about you over there, young lady?
I don't think I have in a while.
Guess what? It's your turn.
116.
What smartphone feature would you actually be excited for a company to implement?
What smartphone feature would you be excited for them to implement?
What does this thing not do?
I know, seriously.
I said we're all looking at our
We're all
smartphones.
looking
We're
at
like,
our phones.
okay.
Well, I mean, mine does everything I needed to do for the most part.
So you want a company to implement. So what feature does your phone have?
What doesn't it have that you wish it did?
Artificial intelligence.
No,
Genuine.
I wouldn't do that, Chris.
I know, seriously. Do not call that person, Christopher.
Do not use me while you're driving, Chris.
There you go.
I wish it could read my mind sometimes.
No, I don't want anybody to read my mind. That would not be healthy.
Your phone would explode.
I'd like it not to track me as
There you
much
go.
as it.
you turn
as it
your
does.
location services off.
Yeah, but
No,
really,
but-
no. You turn your, see here, I'm going to go conspiracy theory, which I don't do often, but you can turn, it shows you that you've turned your tracking stuff off, but does it really?
It still
turn
knows
off?
because
it still
like
knows where you
it
are.
knows like on a Sunday morning I'm coming up here from my house to podcast and it'll say 23 minutes to Pullman Avenue.
But even not just physically knowing
Traffic's
where I
light.
am. The other day I was listening to a podcast about Sinead O'Connor and the history of the song "Nothing Compares to You."
Mm-hmm.
As I'm listening, I'm scrolling through Facebook. Doesn't an ad for Sinead O'Connor's new book show up in my Facebook feed?
It's scary how
Oh
that
yeah,
works.
you
It
just,
really is
just
scary.
mentioned even just mentioning
Just
something,
talking about it,
out loud,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden things are going to.
It both makes me, wow, I might need that, and go, stop it.
That's not right.
That's not right.
And like all these conspiracy theorists are out there in regards that the COVID-19 vaccine is actually a tracking chip that they put in your arm
Fine.
and things like that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm in.
have you not seen your smartphone?
Yeah.
Do they use flip
Let me just
phones?
make an observation on that real quick. One, I've talked to people who have been in the military. They have the most advanced tracking software and tracking rhythms and
They know
and
where we are.
equipment and satellite and whatnot. And there's times where the people who are controlling these soldiers don't know where they are.
Right.
Okay, because they have the most advanced stuff that it doesn't always work. Now, do you think that the virus or the vaccine has just a tiny little chip in it, big enough for them to find you? For starters, I'm sorry, Jethro, you're not that interesting to begin with. Secondly, if you have a cell phone and a credit card and an internet account somewhere, they already know what you're doing anyway. So
Yeah.
why are they bother trying to shove it in your arm? You're an idiot. Moving on.
Anyways, yeah.
I had to get that off my chest. Thank you for bringing that up.
Actually, you know something I really did wish I had?
What?
A while back, I wasn't feeling well, maybe even pre-COVID, but I wonder if the cell phone has a thermometer.
Oh yeah,
And it didn't. It only had it didn't, and there wasn't.
They have the little handheld things now. You can put something like
I
that
mean,
into the phone,
it might do something like for the watch.
Yeah.
right?
The watch could do it.
Yeah.
I mean, the phone. I don't think the phone. But
Has
the watch, watch,
has a little boop.
watch does your pulse and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Your heart rate and stuff. So I mean,
But at one point, I wish
Proper
I had a
sensor.
thermometer.
I thought there was something about a watch with your
Like
temperature,
like a Fitbit kind
check
of a thing.
check your
Yeah.
temperature. It might be something out there, but that's because the watch is right up against your skin. It has that capability. But I thought there was one of the newer watches could do something along those lines.
I wouldn't doubt it.
No, I wouldn't either.
Since there's like the whole Fitbit thing where people have been
Yeah.
using it
I
more
mean,
to monitor their
They
health.
got these sensors on the back of it anyways,
Yeah.
which are doing stuff right
Yeah.
now. So
Equestrian stuff like that.
what
That's
other-
not an Apple Watch, though.
No, this is an Fitbit.
Oh, okay.
So that's that. So we say goodbye to the original trilogy of Star Wars movies.
Bye-bye.
And that was a lot of fun. And we will say hello to the Back to the Future starting next week. Hello.
So if
That's
you
Mrs.
want to,
Doubtfire. Hello.
so if you want to watch Back to the Future and play along with us,
Absolutely. you know what we're doing, because for a change, we know what we're doing.
talk.
Monkey Business, the home game.
Yeah, you can talk back to whatever
That's awesome.
you're. That's fun.
That is awesome. We're gonna have to come up with a drinking game for Monkey Business, I think.
Ay.
How many times can we make Tanya leave the microphone?
Are we off tangent? Drink.
Have we,
We have a
But yeah,
bunch-
you can-
have we referenced a naked show?
And there it is.
our drunk listeners.
But Billy, you're right. I mean, we're going to be in a better position to let people know what we're going to be talking about in the future. So, with that being said,
So we're
you
gonna
can
go
start
back
kind
to
of
the
joining
future.
us.
Yes.
Yeah, you can start joining us a little bit more in that. We're going to go back to the future next week. All right. So for Billy and for Tanya and for Dan and for Juno, my name is Chris. I'm your host. And Dan,
Yes, Christopher.
hey Dan,
Yes.
hit it. Because this has been FC3's Monkey Business, a product of the Mighty Monkey Corporation, purveyors and producers of the Flower City Comic Con, coming at you September 25th and 26th, 2021 at the Total Sports Experience in Gates. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, follow us wherever we go, and we'll lead you to where the entertainment is. You guys have a great week, have a safe week, and we will talk to you again next week.
Dun, dun.